And I've seen this happen before with school districts. I've seen this happen before with city councils. Have you called in the state to come mediate?
Did I call in the state?
Have you called? Have you reached out to the state to come in and mediate what's going on here? So I've seen school boards where you have lots of drama, and Texas Education Agency, comes in and deals with that. You're having these issues there. Have you reached out to state lawmakers? Have you reached out to state representatives?
With more than $3.5 million in debt, the village of Dolton is currently facing a financial crisis. Accusations of misappropriation of funds have been leveled against Mayor Tiffany Henyard, who is now seemingly vanished from the public eye. Concerns are mounting, with one observer stating, "I've never seen any municipality with so many credit cards being used for personal expenses." The number of restaurant orders is mind-boggling. Some are speculating that Henyard's silence is a sign that there's more to hide. "We are not brainwashed, we are fed up," voiced one frustrated supervisor. "It's clear the pressure is mounting on Tiffany Henyard."
S3X situation going on in a small village outside of Chicago thanks to this mayor, Tiffany Henyard. And with George Santos leaving the House, this is the new funniest, most corrupt politician in the United States of America. I learned about Tiffany today when I read an article about the ordinance she's putting in that states if she loses her re-election to be mayor, the mayor's salary will be decreased from $225,000 to $25,000. But if she wins, it will stay the same. When I read that, I realized I had to learn everything about this woman. And as it turns out, the 90% pay cut doesn't even crack the top 10 of the most corrupt things that this woman has done in a short year that she's been the mayor of Dolton, Illinois. If you're on a highway near Dolton, Illinois, you will see
into her privately owned cancer awareness charity, which you cannot do. And in one of those investigations that the chief of police was investigating, it stated here in this tweet, and shout out to this person for tweeting this, they said Mayor Tiffany Henyard is one of the most corrupt ever. She actually hired a child offender, overpays her police officers. She overpays her police officers to be her security, which what do you need that much security for? You're a mayor of a town with about 20,000 people. One of the officers was paid $13,000 in 2 weeks for 300 hours of overtime, because nobody believes that. Nobody believes.
Once a feared figure in Dolton, she's now quickly losing allies as accusations of corruption and unethical conduct mount. Her inner circle, once loyal, is crumbling. A former assistant has come forward, exposing Henyard's long-standing pattern of misconduct and dubious financial dealings. The tide has turned against her, and despite her attempts to appear nonchalant, it's evident that panic is setting in. Allies are abandoning her, and the drama surrounding her is escalating rapidly. Stay tuned, because we've uncovered some shocking details about Henyard's erring leadership.
Defunding the police isn't the answer. What do you plan to do with your resources? Is it less money or more money to police departments?
Well, it's more money towards the areas of needs, right? And as I mentioned before, we're working to double the amount of young people that we hire, not just for summer jobs, but for year-round positions.
I got some advice. If you can, move out of Chicago right now.
Controversial mayor in all of America. So this mayor named Tiffany Henyard is the mayor of a place called Dolton, Illinois. And essentially every single resident in Dolton wants Tiffany out of office. This is mainly because Tiffany's very controversial use of taxpayer money. For starters, Tiffany has a full security detail that goes everywhere with her in the town. This security detail is estimated to be about $250K a year. In addition to security, Tiffany also uses taxpayer funds to do things like buying billboards with her face and name on it. She also puts her name all over government vehicles and buildings throughout the town. And she even has her own 2024 calendar. And of course, she put her own birthday.
In a shocking turn of events, Dolton's self-proclaimed super mayor Tiffany Henyard received a significant blow from an unexpected source. One of her own supposed supporters, Thornton Township Board trustee Carmen Carlisle, who many believed was in Henyard's corner, has switched sides. Carlisle has publicly accused the 41-year-old mayor of engaging in unethical behavior to boost her influence. This betrayal comes at a time when Henyard is already facing allegations of fraud and mounting criticism over her excessive spending habits. It appears Henyard's status as super mayor isn't enough to save her this time. Trustee Carmen Carlisle took to the public today to break her silence, announcing, "I can no longer stay quiet about Thornton Township Supervisor and Dolton Mayor Tiffany Henyard. I believe she has engaged in unethical and predatory practices throughout her term. For the past 2 years, Henyard has manipulated employees, vendors, and residents to increase her influence, all while portraying a false image of success funded by hardworking taxpayers in both Thornton Township and the village of Dolton. Carlisle admitted that she had remained silent about Henyard's lavish trips and extravagant spending at recent board meetings because she trusted the administration. But that trust has since evaporated. I am speaking out not just for myself but for others who have been affected by Henyard's leadership. I believe there are many more victims, people who have been retaliated against, fired, or deceived by Henyard, but who have yet to come forward. Though Carlisle's decision to break her silence took time, it's not hard to see why she hesitated. After all, Henyard seemingly had the law on her side, using credit cards freely and even allegedly employing a personal security force to intimidate potential whistleblowers. Given such backing, it's understandable that people were hesitant to speak out. However, Henyard wasn't going to let Carlisle's betrayal slide. True to form, the mayor fired back, coining a new nickname for her former ally and deflecting blame onto others. "I think I'm going to call you Lying Carlisle. I'm tired of everyone in here. It's always a show. At the end of the day. You were part of this board, right? So why didn't you bring this up before? Where was this energy last year or even months ago?" Henyard's comments seemed to indirectly confirm that there was indeed something amiss in her administration. Her frustration was clear, and her typically tight-lipped approach to this case, where she has refused to speak without legal counsel, seemed to be cracking. Henyard attempted to shift the blame to Carlisle, accusing her of neglecting her duties as trustee. But Carlisle was quick to respond.
Her own people's, from her own town's bank accounts, okay? And it's wild, right? Millions of dollars. What I find really interesting about this situation is that it seems like the rest of the world who's been following this is following it because they all understood the assignment. They all understood what was going on. Now, it seems like one other board of trustees, okay, finally got the memo. Yeah, I think she finally
Push anybody that has that. If someone uses my name to push their charity, or if you say this is Tiffany t-shirt, people gonna buy it. Because right now I'm considered what? Clickbait. People make money off of my name by views. So you just say my name.
You say you don't have a
I
foundation.
don't. I do not. And that's
Okay.
why I tell everybody, go do your research. I'm not on anything.
So when we see all of this back and forth, when we see this going back and forth, have you?
No, sir.
You didn't go to Las Vegas? What is that?
No comment.
You don't know if you were in Las Vegas?
Of course I do.
Were you?
It's not paid by them.
Did you fly first class to Las Vegas?
Any other questions?
When Henyard hits the road, she and other village and township
The reason I didn't ask questions earlier was because I trusted the administration and the process, but once that trust was broken, I started asking questions. As your assistant, I saw and heard a lot. The first time I really questioned my support for you was when you went on a national platform and claimed you knew nothing about a foundation. You forget that I was in those rooms when key decisions were made. You weren't truthful about that foundation. You even came to my house unannounced afterward, trying to convince me to say someone else started the foundation. Carlisle's revelations brought Henyard's shady financial dealings into the spotlight, but she wasn't the only one who had reached the end of her patience. Trustee Chris Gonzalez had been challenging Henyard for months, demanding to see financial records since the day her chaotic leadership began. After repeated polite requests were ignored, Gonzalez called for a special meeting on August 15th to directly confront Henyard about her unchecked spending. This wasn't just an ordinary meeting, it was more like an intervention. The agenda was packed with Henyard's worst fears, from approving dubious payments to pressing for deadlines on long overdue invoices. And the real kicker, 6 new ordinances were set to be introduced, aimed at tightening control over the mayor's powers. These included travel restrictions, salary reductions, stricter budget controls, limits on credit card usage, and a ban on using township resources for personal PR. It was clear that Gonzalez and Carlisle weren't just trying to slow down Henyard's reign, they were preparing to shut it down entirely. Ironically, Henyard's own rise to power came through an 11th-hour nomination by none other than Chris Gonzalez. She was voted in and sworn in just minutes before the midnight deadline. Although many thought the nomination was random, it later came to light that Henyard had applied for the position well in advance. Tiffany Henyard was nominated as a last resort, revealed a source close to the matter. That's how she became mayor. For many in the audience, this seemed like a missed signal that Henyard's leadership might not have been the right fit. In the end, the clock was ticking, and Gonzalez didn't want the decision left to township electors. With the board deeply divided and the deadline looming, Gonzalez nominated Henyard in a last-ditch attempt to force unity within the board. When asked how she felt about her sudden promotion, Henyard responded with characteristic enthusiasm. "Oh, ma, I'm overjoyed. I didn't see it coming. I love it. That means I'm truly blessed and everyone loves me. I love them. Thank you."
Accused of using taxpayer money to fund her lavish lifestyle. Then when the city council unanimously voted for an investigation, she vetoed it. Then last month, a member of her staff accused her of covering up an essay that happened on one of their business trips. Then this week, after a city council meeting showed overwhelmingly that the people want her to step down and resign, the board of trustees has appointed the former Chicago mayor, Lori Lightfoot, to lead the investigations into the essay. If you're not from the Chicago area, you may have no idea who she is and ask, why is this a big deal? Because Lori Lightfoot was an awful mayor, corrupt mayor. She lied about everything.
However, some fans speculated that the Board of Trustees had their own agenda, not wanting the decision to be left in the hands of the public. The rushed nomination and appointment of Henyard ultimately led to widespread dissatisfaction among Dolton residents, with villagers expressing outrage over the ongoing chaos. One resident lamented, "It's heartbreaking our senior citizens can't afford basic necessities because of Tiffany's corruption." Another resident voiced their frustration, saying, "I knew something was off from the start. Tiffany needs to be held accountable. She shouldn't be allowed to spend our tax dollars like this is her personal cash register." Even if both Gonzalez and Carlisle have their own motivations, it seems clear that Henyard's time and power are running out. Desperate to hold on to her privileges, Henyard tried to speed past a critical agenda item, the backup invoices from the finance department, which would have revealed much of the spending she'd been hiding. But Gonzalez was not about to let this slide. Since July, when former aide Keith Freeman blew the whistle on Henyard's questionable activities and was abruptly fired, Henyard replaced him with her loyal ally Keith Price. This replacement was made without board approval, another move in Henyard's attempt to consolidate power. Gonzalez, however, was ready to push back, pointing out that Price had no authority to handle sensitive financial documents without the board's consent. Henyard tried to argue that Price's appointment didn't require board approval while simultaneously claiming that he had been approved all along. Henyard finally called for a vote on the invoices, hoping to push her agenda through, but the tide had turned. Trustees Jerry Jones, Chris Gonzalez, and Carmen Carlisle all voted in favor of investigating the invoices, leaving Henyard as the lone dissenting vote. The motion passed, marking a turning point in the unraveling of Tiffany Henyard's grip on power.
Two documents that we're going to talk specifically about are the annual financial report, and you see the citation here, it's a state law, and the audited financial statements. The village has not, and let me repeat that, the village has not complied with these statutory requirements since fiscal year 2021. There's no annual financial report available after 2021, and no audited financial statements after 2021. So what that means is the information that we're providing you has not been thoroughly audited by.
The mayor rarely talks to reporters, and she let the defense attorney she's retained do most of the talking with WGN News. He says Freeman put Henyard's safety at risk by removing her security detail.
Under the law, he's out when she says he's out.
How is he putting you at risk?
He just answered that.
Is it that there's speculation that prosecutors are putting pressure on him to cooperate with their investigation into you?
No, we're talking about the removal of security detail.
This isn't the first time Henyard's safety has taken center stage.
Saying why we can't help each other, why we can't put our hands together and help one another, why we can't band together at this time, at this moment. This is going to be Black History Month, right? Y'all all say Martin Luther King had a dream, but guess what? I am the dream. So now I need you guys to stand with me.
As the supervisor, there will be no comments, there will be anything, it'll just be me addressing you guys to tell you what's going on in Thornton Township.
When can we address you?
Henyard called Wednesday's special meeting, she said, in response to a series of ordinances the village's board passed last week to manage event spending. In video of the August 20th meeting provided to ABC7 by the Lansing Journal.
Attack. We getting scrutinized in the media. For what? Loving on the people?
showing them that they matter to us. We going through the fires for y'all. Y'all should be ashamed of yourself. Y'all black. Y'all are black. And y'all sitting up here beating and attacking on a black woman that's in power. Y'all should be ashamed of yourselves. A motion to terminate Keith Freeman.
Henyard announced his termination last night.
And we're just going into her quote here because, again, maybe some of her trustees are finally starting to fall off bit by bit. It's just taking a little bit longer than expected, which is crazy. Today, I'm breaking my silence and speaking out against Thornton Township Supervisor and Mayor of Dolton, Tiffany Henyard, who I believe has engaged in unethical and predatory behavior throughout her tenure. Man, I gotta use this. Wow. Wow. Okay, and this is Carmen Carlisle, okay, who wrote this emailed statement to this